Hi, Mark here from the Tangibound Podcast Network and host of the flagship show, the Tangibound Podcast. Did you know that we over at Tangibound are always looking for amazing podcasts to promote? And did you also know that we are also proud nerds and geeks of everything from movies, music, gaming, TV shows, and comic books to wrestling, MMA, soccer, and football? Whatever you can nerd or geek out about, we've got it. And if you're interested, we can help you find it. And if you're a show looking for a place to call home, we've got you covered. Side effects may include upset stomach, dizziness, tumors, shakes, and in some rare cases, death from excessive laughter. Though to be fair, it's only sometimes. Other side effects may include diarrhea, gallstones, heart palpitations, and strong desire for cookies on the dark side. Talk to your doctor and visit TangiboundNetwork.com and see if Tangibound Network is right for you.
Sucks to the last drop. Are you gonna blow your head off? Take good aim and don't forget to duck. A life sucks every Monday and all the way to Sunday, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't care how you're doing, what's up or how's it hanging. I'd like to buy this world one last drink. Life sucks all of the time, so stick it up your sunshine, and then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day.
Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of The Crazy Life. I'm Brian. Joining me as always is Henno.
Hello.
Dude, I was so close. I don't know if you caught, like, there was a little pause there where I was almost went into the Hey Enthusiast.
Get a moment.
It was so about to be a salty language episode. Jeez. Tell you what, kids. Yeah. Well, we were supposed to have a salty language episode, sort of, but Tony had some issues, so we couldn't. So that'll be coming up, but I don't know when yet. We'll have to sort that out at some point.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Be a very special episode.
Yeah, I mean, that's a long time coming.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Yeah.
You know, something that we kind of talked about forever.
Yeah.
In a way.
Right. I think I feel like he did one episode with me, because I feel like there was a time like you and Jen couldn't or something like that, and I think he jumped on with me. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we talked about it because, calling it a salty life or crazy language, because either one actually
Salty
works.
Life is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yes. Salty Life podcast is actually pretty good.
Yeah, we're just gonna mush the two together, and
it would definitely have a different flavor.
Yeah,
all pun intended.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Yep.
How are things?
It's weird. The last few days, I've been kind of wonky and tired. But I don't know why. Like, I don't really have a reason. Like, I hung out with Tony on Friday. We went out we went well out of our way to this kind of hole-in-the-wall bar because he wanted me to try their pizza. So we went and did that, which was fun. The pizza was good. It was worth the time. But then I got home, and I felt just weird. And I was like, I'm like, the best way I can put it is I felt cranky, right? Like, and I'm like, man, I haven't had a med change or anything in a while. And I'm like, and I was like, maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I need a nap, like I'm a 3-year-old, you know? And I went in and laid down, dude, as soon as I hit the pillow, I was out. So I was like, well, that was definitely what it was. Because when I woke up, I still felt kind of weird, but not like I did before. So I was like,
You weren't
okay.
like Betty White needing a Snickers?
Yeah, dude, I'm glad. It was one of those times where I'm glad I was home by myself, because otherwise I feel like I would have pointed aggression at somebody who absolutely didn't deserve it,
Somebody else.
you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah. Who
worst the
didn't? Yeah,
worst part
that's
is like
funny.
I have nothing that I'm angry about, you know? Like
Yeah.
that's even worse because it's like I don't even know what I'm pissed about, but you're going to get it. And that's the worst time to even, yell at somebody or something. So I'm glad and I'm glad I just went and laid down because I was just, I don't know, whatever it was. I got up later and I was fine, after that. But the last couple days, like I was supposed to go with my brother yesterday and I just texted him and I'm like, man, I'm exhausted. I'm just tired. And I slept most of the day. And then today I did the same thing. Although today I had a bit of a headache. So, part of that was it wasn't a full on migraine, but it was pretty close. Like, so I took one of my pills and just, gave in basically to it and just slept for a while. And I feel okay now. Like, I don't, I don't feel like the headache's lingering or anything. So it's like, okay, I don't know. It's like there hasn't been a weather change or anything, so it's just weird that and I've already kind of started my seasonal depression previously, unless maybe it's just, taking another dive down or whatever. But, I went and saw my psychiatrist, what was that, a week and a half ago, something like that. And I talked with her about upping the dose, even though I'm on a new medicine. I was like, can we maybe up the dose because of seasonal depression? Because, I've talked about that before. And she was like, yeah, no problem. She was like, or I can put you on Wellbutrin. I'm like, nope. I was like, because Wellbutrin's the one that made my hand shaky. And she goes, oh, we don't want to do that then. I was like, nope. I was like, that's for sure on my will not take list.
So what does she have you on now?
I'm on, I believe it's Cymbalta, I think.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
I think. And because I'm on the generic of it. So it's, I forget sometimes what it is. It's like
What it's
duloxetine or
called,
something. Yeah. So I haven't, so she upped the dose on that and I feel fine. Like I haven't had any, bad effects from upping the dose or anything, which is good. Cause that's the first time I've upped the dose. So we didn't know how that was going to go. So, she's like, even with the holidays coming up, she's like, if you feel, something's not right, she's like, get a hold of me. And I was like, okay. She's great. I just know she's not going to be there very long. You know what I mean? It's just, you just get that vibe. It's like, you're too good for this place, basically. But I hope she's there a while so that I can keep going to her because I really like her. But and it was cool though. While I was in there, she did a check of, everything else. How's this going? How's this going? How are you sleeping? All those, just did, the normal like psychiatrist stuff. It's not a real long visit. We're not chatting it up really, but I feel heard with her, which always helps. I feel like she cares. I feel like she really is trying to do the best she can. And I also feel like we are making decisions. I don't feel like it's the doctor going, here, take this. I feel like it's well, how about we do this? How do you feel about that type of situation? Which is quite nice. Because I've had both. I've for sure had psychs that were just like, I'm doing this. See you next time kind of thing. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's, realistically, they're doing their job. They're not bad at what they do. They're just not what I'm looking for in that profession. I'm looking for somebody that's a little better bedside manner. So that's been good. And I was supposed to go to therapy this week, but it was one of those days where I felt off. And I was like, I just don't, maybe it was a perfect day to go, but I was also just kind of like, I just don't want to today, so I'm going to try to reschedule that, I think, for a week or two. Because I wanted to go on one hand because, what was it, last week? Yeah, last week was the 6-month mark since my mom has passed, which I can't believe 6 months has gone by already. Like it's so weird. And again, I went through this with my dad, but 6 months felt like so long between the point he died and 6 months later. He died in October, and when we got to 6 months, we were like, wow, it's been, it feels like it was a year. With my mom, I still feel like it was like, a week ago kind of thing. It's crazy how different they can feel. And it got me pretty good because my mom's favorite season was Christmas. Like she decorated the house up for Halloween and stuff, but Christmas is where she usually would go ham. Like Santa stuff everywhere, stockings, Christmas lights, like all through the house. She'd decorate outside with like light up trees and wreaths and, all this. And I am not that guy. I am not that want to go decorate the whole house type of thing. One of our neighbors actually asked me the other day, she's like, when are you going to put all the stuff up? And I'm like, I'm not. I just am not that guy. And I kind of feel bad because, it feels like an easy way to kind of carry on mom a little bit, but also it's like, I don't have the want and energy to do this, and the funny stuff is, like when someone passes, it's weird what hits you, like punches you in the gut sometimes. Stuff you expect, you can kind of, okay, I see it coming, right? Like, it's like Christmas is coming up. This is going to be tough for all of us, but luckily I got my family. We're going to be together. Same with Thanksgiving, really, coming up here shortly. But Thanksgiving's whatever. It's more of just like, getting together and it's a meal. Christmas was one. Again, my mom had different, like I said, it was her favorite. So, and that Christmas Eve get together of our family was one of her favorite things. Like she loved it when she had it here, and got to where actually last year her and I were talking about trying to get things moved, like get some of my stuff moved around, whatever, to where maybe we could have it back over here again. Cause she really missed having everyone over here and doing it here. And, but I was out with my brother, and I have to set this up a little bit, which is, I'll do it this way. I saw Lifesavers puts out like these things. They're called like books every year. It's not really a book, but it's a cardboard thing, and you open it, and on each side there's like a sleeve of Lifesavers, different flavors of Lifesavers. Or they also have one that's got like 2 packs of gummy savers in it. And in recent years, I've switched to getting the gummy savers, but my mom, since I was a kid, bought those for me. Right? And that was every year she bought them for me and my nephew. And then when my nephew had his first son, his son, he only has one son, but his first kid, she started buying them for him. And now that he has 2 girls, she was going to start buying them for them also. And I saw him for the first time in the store, and I was just like, oh, and I'm like, what do we do this year? Like, do I buy my own? Do I just let that go? It's like, it's not important. But it, like, 1 year, she forgot. And my nephew and I were at a store, and we bought them and gave them to her. And she goes, oh, my God. And we were like, what are you talking about? You've got them right here, kind of a thing, right? And then she just gave them to us, basically. But it was like, you could just tell she was like, oh, no, I broke the tradition, kind of a thing. But, we covered it. And I was like, I haven't talked to my nephew about that. And I was like, I kind of want to, just as a like, just to see if he's seen them and kind of had the same situation, because it's going to be impossible for me to see those and not think of her, like it's an immediate tie to my mom and my nephew too, because again, every year for years, it was just me and him getting them, until he had his son. But there's been a few other things now that I've seen. Like I was, I was at a thrift store. I saw a sweatshirt that had Christmas stuff on it. I'm like, oh, my mom would love this. And I started to reach for it, and I was like, oh, what are you doing? Like, just some stuff like that where I very much have, this season's going to be a bunch of punches in the gut. And it's weird because in the past with my dad, I think I've talked on here before about like, oh, Christmas tree. How him and I used to just stupidly sing "Oh Twistmas" to each other. And every year, Corona has a commercial with "Oh Christmas Tree" in it. And the first time I hear it, it's like, whoo, kind of a thing, like, because it's bang. It reminds me, like, it's an immediate reminder of dad. But then I smile because it's a good memory, and I'm at that point now to where it's still a punch, but it's not as bad now. With mom, everything's going to be that fresh first punch this year, so it's going to be worse. But, and again, she was so about Christmas. Like, I saw at a thrift store the other day, they had a big Santa that kind of danced a little bit and played music and whatever. And it was like $15. And I'm like, oh my God, this would be in our house if she were still alive, because she would 100% want that, And like I said, it's definitely, it's been tough on a few things, even though, and it's like, again, I know to an outside person, it sounds silly, but if you've gone through these kind of losses, you get it. That, like I said, just the weirdest little things sometimes, and you're like, oh, that's not going to happen anymore. Kind of a situation, like we're done with this. Or like I asked my sister for Thanksgiving, what should I bring? And she said, wants me to do mashed potatoes. I said, no problem. And I was like, I can't remember. I'm like, what did mom bring? And she goes, oh, she brought the canned cranberry gel because she loved it. Most of us don't, or were about it, So it became one of those things that it was like, in my head, I was like, do I bring some? Because nobody really wants it. But it's mom, it's like the one thing that was quintessential Thanksgiving and mom was she always made sure there was that cranberry gel there. But I was just, you know what I mean? It's like you're going through those kind of things that, not everything she did has to live on. I get that, like the memories are there. We will, there's no way we're not going to talk about mom and different stuff, but it's also new because it's, like I said, it's the first. It's everything we go through from, it's the first time of this, or it's the first time of that, So, that's been, there's been some moments where that's been really tough. Like, my brother didn't understand as much why not this is tough to explain, I guess. My brother from my dad's marriages didn't understand why the Lifesaver book was that big a deal, because he never really had that kind of relationship with his mom. She didn't do those kind of things, But he has in his own way. Like, when my mom's birthday went by, he's like, I almost bought a Snickers for your mom, because every year he'd get her a Snickers bar because she always, she loves Snickers. So he'd, always get her, he usually get her a couple, but, he thought of it, so it crossed. And I referenced that. I'm like, remember the Snickers thing? I'm like, it's like that, basically, So, and then, let's see, what else was there? So, yeah, I definitely wanted to bring this up because this is interesting. We've talked on here a lot of times about buying stuff and having buyer's guilt, So I was out with my brother a few months ago, and we were at a garage sale, and I saw a smart TV that it was like a Samsung one. It was like 50 some inches. And the woman was like, the only reason we're getting rid of it is, she goes, my husband got a new one from work. And I don't know if that means he works for, Aaron's or Best Buy or something, or if that means he won one in a raffle or whatever. But she goes, this one works great, comes with the remote, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whatever. And my brother's like, you should get that. And I was, because the TV in my room's like a 30-inch TV, which is fine, except that I have to concede that I'm at that point that the fine print on TV shows or subtitles sometimes are a little tough to read for me when I'm sitting in bed. and in video games too. Some of the type in some of the games is getting harder for me to read. And I was like, I really do need a bigger TV for that sake. And because my glasses are the correct prescription. I just got them not that long ago, but anywho, but it was like, but I don't need a TV, right? So I'm just whatever, fast forward to every time my brother and I are in a store, they've got TVs for, $300, whatever. And he's always like, you should get that, just screwing around. And then we're in Walmart and they had this one Vizio TV as a 50-inch TV and it was like $214. And he goes, you should really get that. He's like, he's like, I mean it this time. He's like, you really should get that. And I'm like, I know, whatever. And we go and we leave. And for days after that, that's all I could think about was like, I should have got that. I should have just gone ahead and done that because I have the money. It's kind of a treat for myself, but also it will help me not have to sit in bed and squint sometimes, whatever. And when I'm playing, like I said, and I play my video games in my bedroom most of the time. So, it will make it easier for me to see that stuff. And again, less squinting. And, about 5 days later, he goes, hey, I need to go to Walmart for something. And he goes, you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, we get out there. And right on the door, they've got like a advertisement for that TV again. And he goes, are you going to get it? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get it. So I got one. And, I get it home. And honestly, it sat for a couple days only because I just didn't want to bother moving other stuff around so that I had room because 30-inch TV fits on the one chest of drawers that I have. The 50-inch TV is not fitting on that, so I had to clear my dresser off. So I had to, and I had my video game systems on the dresser and some other stuff. So it's like I gotta move things around and figure out my logistics on the video game systems, because of length of cords and such. So I was like, so it sat for like 2 days, and then I finally hooked it up. And, I'm sitting there watching and I'm like, this is so much easier for me to read. Like, I don't have to squint when I'm reading the low stuff and, all this. And since it's a smart TV, all the apps are on the TV. I don't have to fire up my PlayStation to watch Netflix, these kind of things and all this. And I'm like, but I just cannot help but feel the years of, you didn't need that. Why'd you get it? Like that, just from growing up with not a lot of money, right? Like my parents would have never gone and bought a TV until our current TV died. That's when we got a new TV. There was or if somebody was like, hey, I'm upgrading my TV. Would you like my old TV? And go, yeah, because it's better than our TV situation, And so I'm fighting years of that. And, my buddy that's my roommate, is just like, dude, he goes, your mom would want you to enjoy your life and that money you have. He's like, it's only $200. He's like, it's not like you went out and bought like $1,000 TV, something that's like stupid, frivolous kind of situation, And I was like, he's right. In that even if I don't use the mom example, I deserve good things. I deserve to do this if I want to, There's nobody who's gonna, honestly, it's nobody's business, right? Like, it's, who cares what anyone else thinks about it, realistically? I'm the only one that has to answer, I'm the only one who has to justify it. But I'm immediately going through, trying to justify it, right? Like, well, like I said, even with this, before I got to I bought one part, I'm talking about, I put out my justifications first. Like, oh, well, it'll help me because I won't have to squint. It'll do the, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to find the logistical reasons that I need one versus want one, But the truth is, though, I kind of do, because it does suck when you're sitting in your room and you're squinting trying to read stuff. After a while, it hurts and it can cause headaches and whatever. But ultimately, I got one because I wanted one. And now I have a bigger TV, and it's cool for video games. And the definition actually matches the video game systems I have instead of playing on a TV that's like 12 years old, So these brand new game systems, like, oh man, look how amazing these look. And I'm like, not so much to me, but but it's nice. I think I'm finally at that. Point, but what's funny was the TV that, obviously I I'm not going to throw away the TV I had, so I've got to find a home for it one way or the other, And the first thing in my head was like, put it on Marketplace and sell it. But I'm like, dude, it's a 12-year-old TV. Ain't nobody gonna give me any real money for this. Like, it's just not worth much at all, So it's like, why don't you talk to like friends and stuff and see if either like somebody's got a kid that needs a TV or somebody wants one for a garage or, something more along those lines, and then just give it to them and, move on. Because right now what it is taking up space, so that's what I'm going to do. And actually, Tony's going to, I actually have two of them, but Tony's going to take one for like a second monitor situation, I think. And then I'm going to get a hold of, like my one nephew and see if he needs one or somebody in his house needs one. So I think I'm mostly at the point that I'm over the buyer's guilt and the feeling bad about buying it for myself, And it is funny though, because in my head I'm going, what's funny is again, if my mom were around and I was like, yeah, Walmart's got this TV for like $200, blah, blah, blah. She'd be like, you didn't get it? Or why didn't you call me? Like she would have immediately done that. And it was, because years ago, I know it's a little more money, but like when they put out that, the first Metallica box set of Pops, and I was talking to her on the phone and I was like, oh, whoa, they got them here. And she goes, how much are they? And I'm like, they're like $50. And she's like, get it. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, get it. She's, like Merry Christmas, basically, and
yeah.
So
yeah,
that for sure would have happened. But either way, like I said, I've got to get in the mindset that, especially when it's not something like crazy, again, if I was buying $1,000 TV, this would be a different conversation because I would then feel more open to people going, why didn't you just get a $300 TV? Or do you need an 80-inch TV for the bedroom? Like that kind of thing, right? And even a 50, the only reason I got a 50 is really, if you look at like a 36-inch TV, they're still near $200. So I might as well get a bigger one for the same money. So anyway, and I could have went higher because, they had a Samsung that was like $300 for the same size and all this. So, I could have all these things. So I still tried to bargain shop within my splurge, But I was telling Tony about it a little bit, and he was like, what's the, he's like, whatever. And I'm like, no, I was like, I'm going to talk about it on the Crazy Life because I'm like, me and Heno have talked about this before about feeling bad about buying stuff when it's, not warranted. Like, again, we deserve good things. Like, just because you don't have tons of money doesn't mean you don't deserve some happiness and things when you can, it'd be different if I wasn't paying my rent,
Yeah, exactly.
Then yes, please, if that ever happens, please have a conversation with me about priorities, like, buddy, you need a place to live before you worry about a TV.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that pretty much catches me up for that amount of time. For since we recorded last.
How's are you still taking the GLP-1 stuff?
Yes, I am.
How's that going?
The side effects are pretty much gone on it now. And it's weird because I can probably eat nearly what I was able to eat before I was on it. Like, not quite. Like, I still, like, we had that pizza the other day. I have to stop at 3 pieces of pizza. If I go beyond that, I'm going to regret it. Like, it's going to feel uncomfortable for a while, right? But now it's weird though, because I don't have that constant full feeling. I still, like, I crave junk again, so it's weird that kind of came back. But I just recently had blood work done, and my A1C has come down a decent amount to where it's in the range my doctor wants it. Like, he still would like it lower.
Excellent.
But, and I've been,
yeah.
for the most part, I've been trying to not be stupid when I eat, as far as like, I'm trying to make sure that it's like, oh, I just had pizza. Okay, well, I'm going to have a salad later, or I'm going to have something with loads of vegetables and such later, to try to balance. And even the pizza I got was loaded with vegetables, but, so I'm trying to do stuff like that and eat I still need to work on my carbs. That's my big problem. I need to get, because I love pasta so much. And, like I haven't been eating as much like French fries because I haven't been eating out much. And then, when my brother and I have gone out, I've been trying to find other things sometimes. If we are at a fast food place, like we went to Culver's and I got a side salad, which I won't do again only because of the price. It's like $4 for a really tiny side salad. And it's like, dude, this is just lettuce and like half a tomato. Like I can't,
Yeah, right.
like I just can't. So,
Yeah.
but like I said, but I've noticed, like when I'm eating sandwiches or something at home, I've been skipping chips as a side, or if I have some chips, I have more like what's recommended, like 10 chips, something like that. So I'm trying, but it's really hard when you love carbs, to cut carbs.
Yep.
It's real
I know
hard.
that.
So, like I said, I'm trying. So I'm at least trying with this stuff. But the next step is I need to get myself moving. I need to get on my exercise bike or something, and even if it's just pedaling for 10 minutes a day or something, just to kind of get some motion going, because I know that stuff helps with cholesterol as well. That it can help, plus circulation, all that kind of stuff. It's just, I got to have the energy to do it is the problem. So either I got to start a cocaine habit or or really get hopped up on like pre-workout or something. No, it's yeah. But yeah, otherwise, like I said, on the upside, the side effects are gone, which makes me happy, because I actually asked my doctor after my blood work if he was going to increase the Ozempic, and he said not now. He doesn't want to. So, because again, he put me on it for diabetes, not for weight loss. Any weight loss would be gravy, but it was mainly to help me to get my diabetic numbers down. So, and from what I've read, when you go up to what is it, 100 or whatever, the side effects are pretty wicked, and you get them again. Like you don't. Increase. Like you go through the whole cycle again, basically. From what I've been told by 6 people, so that's enough that I'm going to assume that I would probably also go through the same thing. But if he recommends that, I would do it, because I would like to lose more weight. I've lost probably, I think the last time I was on the scale, it was about 10 pounds. So it's not a lot. But also I know from what I've read, it sounds like the weight loss doesn't really kick in for a little while before you start losing more weight. So, but I'm on a low enough dose that, that number is going to be cut down as well. Like all the numbers they talk about in the commercials are for the people that are on the highest dose. So
yeah,
it may take longer for me to see similar results. So how about you? What's been going on?
Well, let's see. It's weird. I'm not going home this week for Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, because you were just home, right?
Yeah, because I just did it because it was Mom's 90th birthday, so it was.
Oh, that's right. I forgot it was her birthday. Yeah, you told me that. Yeah, man, 90, huh?
Yeah. So Sharon.
Jeez.
Right.
Wow. All right.
I mean, it's wild. It's like she's just going for it.
Great.
Sharon said she's like.
I felt that way with I felt that way with my mom at she was 79 when she passed. She would have been 80 this year. So, or no, next year. She would have been 79 this year. So she was 78 when she passed. And she just kept humming along until right at the end. It was just, I was like, this is awesome. That they can still get around and drive and all that kind of shit. It's like, this is great.
That's it. Yep. Sharon's only comment was that they went to Costco again, and she doesn't quite charge up and down the aisles like she used to, and now she she doesn't do self checkout. She allows someone else to check her out. slowing down.
Yeah.
She stops more often and browses,
Yeah.
which I thought was kind of funny. And my
Yeah.
neighbor, we had a great luncheon. It was all mostly just the neighbors, and my nephew Peter was there, bored out of his mind because everyone there was old.
Yeah.
But
I always feel bad for
Nate,
kids when that happens, like you're the only kid.
well, the guy
Everyone
should have
else is
sat
like
next
50.
to me. Right, at least if he sat next to me, we could have talked about guitar or something.
Yeah, right.
He sat on the other end of the table.
Silly
But
goose.
he, Nate, yeah, right. Nate was supposed to come down, but college student, 21-year-old college student on a Saturday at noon, probably not going to show up.
Right.
But he did. But what was great is Nate came down on Sunday night for dinner at my mom's house, so that was a really nice treat. To kind of catch up with him, and like I said, the neighbors were all there. Had a great. I mean, the views in the bay were incredible. I mean, going to San Francisco in October and November is where it's at. It's just incredible. But my neighbor next door, right next to my mom, we saw each other in the morning. He was going for a walk, and he's like, yeah, one day I followed your mom behind the car because I was curious about how she was behind the wheel.
Yeah.
And he said, because I told him, I said, the only thing I noticed is that she's just very cautious.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, that's how it's like. There was a kid that came out of nowhere on a side street and she picked him up instantly.
Okay.
And the only thing is that she comes to a complete stop when she didn't need to. Like you said, it was just a little too cautious.
Yeah.
But it's funny when I'm driving, she is like passenger gripping the freaking door handle all the time, but it's because she's seeing something out of her peripheral vision.
Yeah.
Like I watch her tense up all the time, and
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, mom, you in your world, you needed to start slowing down a lot longer.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Like I already recognized it. I knew what was coming,
Right.
but she clearly is. She is really anticipating it, so that's a good sign,
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly, because she's
like
still seeing it and anticipating it. Those are both good things.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's good reaction.
Exactly, and like I said, she's just being safe and
sure. Which you'd rather she does that than be like, I can make it.
Yeah.
My grandma was the opposite. My grandma would just go, and that's what scared us. Was it one of these times? Like, dude, there were times she turned right in front of traffic. It was nice of them to stop for me, and we're like, they didn't stop. Like, they only stopped because you cut them off, basically.
Yeah.
So we were scared for a while until she finally was like, okay, I think I should stop driving. We're like, oh, thank God.
Stop driving, right? Yeah. And I don't know if that's going to happen. I would like to see her getting, used to like maybe doing some, either, doing some sort of a ride thing.
Yeah.
Whether it's Uber or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because just to get into the habit of it a little bit, like, hey, go to the grocery store, see how it works for you. But, as long as she can jump in her car and go, she will.
Yep.
And then as I'm looking at Benny spazzing out on the couch, doing weird dog things, it's so weird. His eye, he got an ulcer in his eye and it's just not healed. It's been weeks and weeks.
Oh, man.
And then all of a sudden I notice a red spot on his other eye and I look down and a guitar string had dropped right next to his water bowl. And because his one eye is completely just clouded over, he probably stuck his face right into that guitar string.
Oh, man.
So I'm like, great. He's gone 3 weeks and then I nail his other eye. When he had a follow-up at the vet and the vet's like, did he poke himself on something? And Sharon's like maybe a guitar string. And she's like, what? And she's like, yeah, that's what it looks like. He poked himself. So that'll heal faster.
Yeah.
But it's been kind of a bummer just because I've got a regiment of eye drops now. Like
I
you
bet.
have to get time each one 5 minutes apart. And
is it getting better?
It's so funny. Oh yeah.
Okay,
The one,
good,
I mean, when we went to California, it started to look horrible. It just swelled up and turned giant red.
Oh, man.
And I'd left his anti-inflammatories at home. I hadn't even thought about bringing them.
Yeah.
Because I figured, most of the time the ulcers get better within a week. this one just kept getting worse and worse, and I felt terrible because we have anti-inflammatories for his back. But when we got back, we got him in right away, and she just like, I'm throwing everything at him.
Yeah, I was going to say,
gave
I'm
him all
sure.
the antibiotic.
Yeah, they just got aggressive. Sure. Because it's got to be
that's
horrible
getting
for
better.
him. Because it's not like you can explain to him what's going on. All of a sudden, his one eye doesn't work. Like
Yeah,
that's
and
got
he
to be
was like
awful.
super squinting when we were
Yeah.
in California. So I'm like, okay, that's irritating you to like
Yeah.
no other.
Poor guy. Yeah.
But now he's fine, and yeah, he's just being weird, like a 5-year-old bulldog.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good.
So
Because once they start acting normal again, you're like, okay, he's.
Well, that's it.
you
That
know,
was it. That
yeah.
was it. Yep. It was. There were days where I'm like, okay, he's not himself. He's clearly not doing well.
Right.
But yeah, so it was. I mean, it was a great trip. Like I said, my mom's just. She's.
I love to hear it, man.
It's amazing.
I know I say it every
Yeah,
time
it's
you
just
tell
really
me,
amazing.
but it's the truth.
Yeah.
I do. I love to hear it.
Yeah.
I
and
love.
now she's added her. She's got her Apple Watch now.
Oh, geez.
I mean,
All
it's
right,
like,
man.
Yeah. Well, because she heard about when Elise fell.
Mm-hmm.
And it sent notices to all of us that were on her contact list.
I keep seeing that, and I keep seeing where like the watches are picking up like weird heartbeat rhythms and telling people like, "Hey, talk to your doctor."
Oh yeah,
and it's saving lives.
Oh yeah,
and it keeps making me go, I might get one just for those reasons. Like I kind of don't want to spend the money on one. Again, that's how I would justify it.
Well, and it was funny, speaking of $200 televisions, my mom was like, she thought it was gonna be like $600 or something. She talks to a friend of hers, and her friend was like, it was only like $250 or something. She's like, done.
Yeah.
That's just because she can quite literally, if she falls, she can answer the phone on her watch. She can make an emergency call on her watch.
Yep.
And I helped her with some of the annoying notifications on it, but otherwise it's like my mom is actually more teched up now than I am.
I was just gonna say that. I was gonna say your mom's more teched up than me. Like I just stepped into my first smart TV, and she's walking around with an Apple Watch. Like, what's going on here? Man, I'm behind in the game.
Right?
Good for her though, because that
wild.
is, that was something I never thought of with my mom. Although she wouldn't have embraced it because she was terrified of messing things up on like a smartphone, let alone a watch, but that, that's why I said it's like the more I'm seeing these with people and the heartbeat thing, because again, I do have heart disease stuff on both sides of my family. And obviously I've not lived a great life as far as my heart health goes. So, I was like, I've really put some thought into it because it's like for that cost, man, if it heads off a potential heart attack or something like that, or gives you a few extra minutes on that heart attack, that could save your life. Or like you said, a bad fall or something, because it's not like none of us are too young for a bad fall now. We're all in that group now.
Yeah, that was really great, and the fact that Sharon got to come and do it with us, because otherwise I was going to be driving home this week myself, because she's got a film festival next week, and it just would have sucked.
Yeah.
So it's all working out, and then we did Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
I was with 2 bands, and that was really fun.
How does that work?
Just great turnout.
Like, is there a prize? Is there a prize at the end? Or is it just?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so how's that work when you're in 2
there
bands?
Are 2 prizes.
Could you end up in like could both your bands end up in the final?
There's 2 awards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's just a judges award and there's a audience award.
I just think it would be hilarious if they're like, okay, band 1, and you're up there playing. They're like band 2, and you're like, well, I'm gonna just keep standing here. Like,
luckily it
guaranteed prize.
It's not like that.
Okay.
Yeah, just everyone performs. There was 14 artists. It was great. I mean, it goes all day, and people were there all day. Again, it was
awesome.
There was a little bit of concern that year number 2 wasn't going to have the same draw, but it was fantastic. We had bands come out from Pocatello. A couple hours away, and that made it really fun and entertaining. And it was. We had both the bands I played in we had good sets.
Cool.
And that was really enjoyable. So I got a couple more things going on in December, but for the most part, we're doing our big 80s show in the beginning of January. So we've been really hammering that, and I was getting really bummed on my playing a little bit. Mostly my improv has just been terrible. But the one thing that's been wild is we're playing Rock This Town by Stray Cats.
Yeah.
And like it's amazing all these 80s guitar players that I knew were good, but like I really didn't realize how good they were.
It makes me
And-
wonder. I've wondered for a long time because of, and I don't mean any disrespect to the bands, but because of like now looking back at some of that music, it's seen somewhat as corny, right? And as a result, like I wonder if because of that, like some people just don't give it the respect it deserves, because some of that music is like some of these people are like, holy crap, these are really talented musicians,
Yeah.
just because
Yeah,
they
and
played
that's,
something
like-
that was more fun instead of whatever, or
Yeah.
a little fun and goofy or
Like-
something.
I've never played rockabilly.
Yeah,
Burr.
right.
Like, not even close. And
Never played
Elliot
Misfits.
Easton of the car. Yeah.
I mean, Misfits are kind of rockabilly.
Eh,
Yeah.
yeah. But Elliot Easton of the Cars, his background was a rockabilly player, and I didn't know that
Okay.
until I started learning some of the guitar solos. And I'm like, why is this so hard? And it's like, oh, rockabilly. And then I got to learn Brian Setzer, and I was like, what the hell? I mean, I knew he was incredible.
See-
Like I've watched videos of him just shredding.
I think he's one of those guys that because of moving more toward rockabilly, especially, I think or like the, I think a lot of people kind of saw him as like goofy and fun versus like, but in order to make it sound that effortless, you have to be really good, like,
Well, that's
you
yeah. So everyone goes, oh, it's like old time rock and roll,
Yeah.
right? It's 50s rock and roll.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's actually jazz.
right.
Like
But-
so now if you go watch some like Hee Haw episodes,
Yes.
those guys are shredding.
Dude, if you ever
Like-
want to see something crazy, I talked about this. I think I might have talked about it on here before. I know I've talked to you about it, which was what's his name? Roy Clark, that played the banjo
Yes.
on Hee Haw all the time. Go look up him shredding. That dude is crazy on a guitar. Like, and I don't mean like,
Yeah.
oh, he's playing old rock and roll. He's like thrashing
No.
on that guitar.
It's
Like before thrash metal
it's
was
jazz.
a big thing. Yeah. But it's nuts.
It's serious jazz.
Yeah.
And he does it on guitar, banjo, and violin,
Yeah.
or fiddle, but whatever.
Fiddle, right?
But he is
How dare you,
but
sir?
his guitar stuff and I had a taste of it in the early 90s when I took lessons from a guy that used to be Willie Nelson's lead guitar player, and he was
okay.
teaching me jazz, and I'm like, why am I learning jazz from a guy that played in the country?
Yeah.
And that's when I realized that all these guys had
Yep.
heavy jazz backgrounds.
Because if you can play
And
jazz, you
they're-
can play anything. I think Questlove
pretty
talked about
much.
that a little bit with even drumming. That like if you can play jazz drums, you can play a lot of different types of drums. Because it's so there's different types and all that kind of stuff, and just the way it's structured versus other stuff. A lot of it has roots in it, so it makes sense.
Yeah. So it's been really great for me because my brain is engaged, and I think it's really helped my mental health big time.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, big time. Like
Right.
it's been I feel like I have drive and ambition and desire, and it does put a damper on the bass playing thing. It's like, this is what I love to do. I
Yeah.
mean,
You
the
kind of
fact
don't
that I
want to
could
play bass. Is
learn-
that what you mean, or?
Yeah, I mean, if I can learn a solo note for note that most people don't even bother in this area, it's like, give me that any day.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like, and I want to nail it. So it's really given me, it's been truly an incredible opportunity to keep doing this band. And this brings us to my main topic for the night. These are the guys I want to play with because, like, we had talked in the previous incarnations of this group about continuing on, but it never happened. And this group is continuing on, like everyone's into it.
Cool.
And one of the things that happened is the bass player Kent has he's gone through some stuff, like just ugly divorce stuff and legal things and just not fun stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, just the crummy life things that happen. And he's got such a positive attitude. And I didn't know this. He used to drink really heavily.
Okay.
Well, you know, one day I was getting sounds in the studio and I picked up his bass, and his bass was just, it needed some serious work. And I'm like, hey, do you mind if I take this thing home and work on it? He's like, no, please do. And so I brought it back. I'm like, it plays a lot better now. He's like, yeah. And then when I got all this equipment to sell, there were a few basses, and I'm like, you know, I want to bring a couple over to him, see what he thinks. So I brought these 2 basses over, and because he asked me, he's like, so what do you have? I'm like, well, there's a couple of inexpensive ones, but then the rest of them are really high end. And he's like, well, I'd like to check them out. And so he's like, did you bring the inexpensive one? I'm like, no, I'm not going to bother. I was like, just try these. I mean, these are $3,000 to $5,000 instruments.
Yeah.
You know, one of them is, I mean, one of them you could buy right now for over $4,000.
Right.
I mean, and it needed a little bit of work. I set it up right, and I brought it over, and I told him, I said, you know, he played both of them. He was playing them while we were rehearsing one night, and we didn't have a drummer there. James wasn't there, so we were just playing along with kind of a drum machine. And Ken was playing back and forth between. Then he's like, yeah, I kind of like this one. I'm like, well, why don't you just take it home? He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, dude, it's sitting in my basement. You know, it's
Yeah,
like, just
right?
take it
Yeah.
home, try it,
Yeah.
see what you think. And he's like, well, what do you think? You know, like it'll be cheaper, right? And I'm like, well, I don't know, because some of these things are keeping their value, others aren't. Well, I go look it up, and sure enough, it's like I said, it's an over $4,000 bass, and there's a few of them on the sale sites, and they're not even selling for $2,600.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, so take the 20. You know, let's just say I listed for 2,500. 20%
Yep.
in fees and all that stuff. Now it's 2.
Yeah. Which is
So I
not
told him, I said,
horrible. Yeah, for a high-end guitar. You're getting it for half price.
and and he's like, you know, my life is getting better now. Things are changing. I think I can do this. And I was like, okay. And he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, it's a fair price. If in the end, you know.
Yeah.
And so the next week he comes back and he plays it, and I'm just looking at him going, like, that bass belongs on him.
Yeah.
Like that, like as if he'd been playing that bass for his life.
Right.
It just works. And it just sounded great. And we had a great rehearsal. And the next day I got a text message from James, the drummer, and he says, I want to buy that bass for Kent.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, I swear, it makes me tear up every time
man.
I talk about this.
That's beautiful.
He's like, I think he's coming up on 10 years without a drink. He's been through hell. I want to buy that bass for him.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives me chills every time I think of it.
Yeah, same, right?
And
yeah.
I mean, you're buying your buddy that you've been playing music with forever.
Yeah.
Something like that. And the next thing you know, there was money in my Venmo.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap.
Beautiful.
So then I was like, and it was funny. The first thing he says is, the hard part is going to be getting him to accept this.
Right.
Because he won't.
Right.
He will not. Like,
Yeah.
he's, you know.
Yeah.
So I was entertaining this fantasy about, like, all right, how's this going to go down? So I didn't tell anybody in the band. I kept it pretty much to myself. I told some of my coworkers just because I was like, this is why I want to play with these guys.
Yeah.
That's pure heart.
It is.
I mean, pure heart.
Yeah. It's what my mom used to call, I mean, it's a higher end version, but what my mom used to call smile gifts, right? Like, there were so many times where if she had something and somebody was like, oh my God, this is the coolest, blah, 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 she'd be like, take it, you know, whatever. If she knew there was something that somebody kept looking at in a store, or she was out with somebody and they kept looking at it, she'd buy it. Like, you wouldn't even notice it sometimes, and she'd just swipe it and throw it in the cart. And then when you get, like me, she would do that with me at times where I didn't even realize she did it. And we get home and she'd be like, here, you know, and I'd be like, oh, you know. So I love that. I love stories like that, man. That's great.
Yeah, and it's really not. I mean, the money is clearly something, but it's not about the
Yeah,
money.
no.
It's more just that.
Well, that's the thing.
So,
It's like you couldn't do anything like crazy with it because it's it's a different cause. It's not your guitar to where you could go. I'll tell you what. I'll knock 500 off, and that's my
yeah, right.
I'm chipping in on
Yeah,
it or something. Yeah, it's like I
yeah.
can't really
I
do
had to
that
be.
because I have to get money
Yeah,
for these people. But yeah,
yeah. And I had to be fair, and
Mhm.
I
And
thought
that's
that was
fair.
as
Yeah,
fair as it's going to get.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think it was mint condition. I mean, it
yeah.
was, you know, can you get more money for it? Yes, but you would have waited.
Yes.
You know, and when there's already a bunch already being sold on the music sites, no one's going to pay more for something, like unless
Yeah.
it's some unique color, and
Yeah.
it's
Right.
not
I was gonna say unless there's something that stands out about it. Exactly.
special, and it's not.
Yeah.
It just happens to be a high quality USA made, instrument.
Yeah.
So I had this fantasy about how it was going to go down, and
Mhm.
I was kind of fantasizing about, a Kent coming and giving me money and me saying, dude, I can't take that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Like, well, I can't take money for something that's not, that
Right.
you've already owned. Why
Oh,
would I,
bad news,
so
buddy. I sold the guitar to someone else.
yeah, right. So here's the funny thing. He walks into rehearsal one night
Yeah.
and gives me an envelope.
Hmm.
And I just held up my hands. I'm like, I can't take that. And he's like, what do you mean I can't take that? And I'm like, well, you can't pay me for something that's already yours.
Right.
And he looks at me, he's like, what are you talking about? And I just poked my head over at James.
Yeah.
And he looks up and James goes, I bought the bass for you. And of course Kent was like, no way.
Yeah.
No. Like,
Right, because we're
throwing
not
the
talking
money
like
at
buying
James.
him a pizza. Yeah. Yeah.
You're right.
Right.
He's like, no way. There's no way. And finally James says, because Kent's a fishing guide, a fly fishing guide. He's like, my wife wants to learn how to fly fish. I'm sure you can set her up with a rod. He's like, we'll work out a trade. I'll give you an opportunity to, to earn it
Yeah.
next year. And Kent's like, okay, fine.
Right.
He totally didn't want to. But
Right.
I seriously, like at that moment,
Yeah.
like, I mean, I was almost in tears because I was
Yeah.
just like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, this is incredible.
Right.
And
That is.
yeah,
I
so
love that.
it was, yeah, it just really, I I would do more, that kind of stuff. But like I said, it's not my stuff.
Yeah.
I am selling it for somebody, and we are
Right.
trying to make money.
Right. And it also, it's exactly. It's not just, I'm just dumping my gear or something like that to where,
Yeah, because I'm not. Yeah,
Right.
But I'll tell you what I have done is I've been able to get rid of some of my stuff.
Yeah.
Because I am taking stuff in trade. So I have a lot of either pedals or amplifiers or whatever that, I've got already, I'm like, I think at 120 hours into this project.
Yeah.
So, I'm getting stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that allows me to then pay it forward to somebody else. So like
Okay.
if there's something that I'm going to grab, if I have something that it's replacing, I've been giving them to people that I know, like, hey, here, I think you'd like this.
Okay.
Take this.
Yeah, that's
Like
cool.
I will never use it again. And it's felt great.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
that part felt great. So it's been, it really, stuff like that. Just, I'm like, this is what I want to do next year. I want to pursue whatever I do is with these guys. Not that there's anything wrong with the other bands that I play in.
Right.
And they're awesome, but it's like this is so rewarding to me, and and I'm still, my goal is to get back into my own music and finishing some stuff up, and
Yeah.
so it's been good. Work's been great. It's I feel bad for all the skiers because the mountain ain't opening on Thanksgiving like they always have. I think in my 20 years of being here, I think there was only one Thanksgiving that they didn't open.
Oh wow.
At least one
Was it
run.
too
There was
warm?
only one. Yes, it
Yeah.
is so warm right now. Like
Yeah.
they started making snow. They had some huge snow piles, but then they had to stop. It's been raining.
Oh wow.
We have been getting a little bit of snow, but it's just warm. Like
Yeah.
usually by Halloween, it's cold. Like
Yeah.
we've had our first we've had our first 18-degree, night or
Yeah.
whatever it is,
Right.
hasn't happened.
Wow.
Like it hasn't happened. Last week, it was around 50. I was out painting. Like seriously, I was out there doing stuff that I would never,
Yeah.
like it's like I've had a bonus 3 weeks
Yeah.
to be out doing stuff and it's stuff that I don't want to do in the summer because it's too hot.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, 50 sounds
like on a
perfect.
roof.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's the best.
Yeah.
We've been like mid 50s and it sucks, but
Yeah.
like I feel bad for you, all you skiers, but I've been loving it.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I'm,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm sure.
happy.
Yeah.
But what's been great is I've been able to catch up. So I don't feel like I'm going into which it's not so much about holidays. It's also just happens to be our budget time of year. So I need to be, in the office doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I been kind of out there doing other stuff instead, but I'd rather feel caught up on the nuts and bolts stuff. I can quickly catch up on budget things.
Right.
That's just office work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really wonderful and like work. Like I said, seriously, work's been great. The new schedule is working out great too because
Oh yeah, I
like
forgot
I'm
about
there
that.
on
Yeah.
Fridays. Yeah, it's like for example tomorrow. Usually I'm at work on Monday. It's weird that I'm not going into work tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll work Tuesday through Saturday, and I'm off on Thursday. So it's like it's a short week anyway.
Yeah.
But it's been great because I'm there on a Friday where if something comes up, I'm there now.
Yeah.
I can help, or I can go order some things, and I think it really has benefited us that because before there's only 3 days of the week that the 4 facilities guys are there. Monday and Friday is always shorthanded by one person,
Mm.
and now we are only shorthanded one day of the week, and that person rotates.
Mm. Okay.
Right? Because
Yeah.
before Monday and Friday, it's the same people not there.
Oh, right.
Right?
Yeah.
Frank is never there on Monday, and I'm never there on Friday. And Frank and I only work 3 days together then.
Okay.
So
it sucks if you're
now,
the guy getting shorted.
yeah, so now
Yeah.
everybody is taking turns not being there on a Monday, but there are 4 of us together 4 days of the week.
Okay.
And yes, I never had a problem keeping myself busy on my Sundays by
Yeah.
myself.
Right.
However, this is a lot more useful. It
Yeah.
just is.
Right.
And and I get an extra whatever it is, $140 on my paycheck
Yeah.
for being paid on call next Sunday.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, right.
Like I'll take a little extra money to do what? Stay home and do stuff that are ordinarily going to do anyway.
Right, exactly.
No big
Yeah.
deal.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So
So smart.
yeah, fine. You're going to pay me to make sure I'm at home. Okay.
Yeah.
Even if it's whatever $3.74 an hour.
Yeah.
Here's the funny part. My first job at a rehearsal studio, I got paid $4 an hour under the table,
Yeah.
cash. I never thought I would make less money than my first job.
Yeah.
And now I
Especially
do.
not this many years later.
Right?
Yeah.
One day out of the month, I get paid the least I've ever made. All right, maybe my paper route. I bet my paper route I made
Probably
more
paid
money.
better
I
than
don't
that.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably once
That's
I got
funny.
the tips in there.
Right. Yeah.
it's
my
really
first job
funny.
was under the table. I don't remember what I got. I think it was $5 an hour, but it was half cash, half credit at a comic book shop. So it,
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
and most of the $5 still went back into the cash register at the comic shop, basically, so.
Yeah.
But then
Right. Yeah, because you're just buying
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
when I worked at Best Buy, which was my second job, I think it was either $4.25 or $4.75 an hour. I don't remember which it was, but it was one or the other. So it was,
I think
you
I think $4.25. That was the minimum wage way
Yeah.
back when.
because that would have been in '96. So yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
what
so-
it was. Whatever minimum wage was, that's what I made. Yeah,
Yeah.
So, yep. Good
Yeah.
times.
Don't get me started on that one.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That it's still $7.25. Come on.
Yeah. Right. Oof. Yeah. I haven't worked.
People out that work at
I say I haven't worked in 20 years, and when I quit, I was making more than minimum wages now. So,
Yeah, and restaurant workers in Idaho don't even make $4 an hour.
Yeah, I know.
It's really bad.
Right.
It's really bad.
Yeah, I've seen a
And
lot of people complaining about that with people not tipping as well right now and different stuff, and it's like, yeah, that's a whole mess. But
I don't like having my food spit in, so whatever.
what? That's part of the fun of going out to eat.
That's not Flavor Town.
Oh, nobody told me. Oh man,
Oh,
I feel like there
well,
was
that's
something else.
about all I got.
Yeah, I know. I don't have a whole ton to, other than what I've already gone through, basically. So it's, kind of a short episode, I guess, because we didn't talk about pulling up a topic or anything. Plus, I think we kind of talked about
Nah,
it a little bit anyway, because I talked about buyer's remorse, and you talked about I don't know what the term for it would be, but the one paying for the other, the base, and just doing something super nice for somebody, which is awesome. And I can't encourage that enough. I mean, I'm not saying $2,000 gifts to your friends and stuff, but whatever a person can do, it's awesome if you
little
can.
things.
Yeah,
Yep.
like I said,
Yep.
my mom used to, she would just get stuff for people at like the dollar store at different times because it's something that reminded her of them, or like I said, just even if it was something they wouldn't buy for themselves, that kind of stuff. That's
My latest
what I always tried to do. It's like, oh, you won't buy, and it's something fairly reasonable, but you won't buy it for yourself. Well, I'll buy it for you.
my latest feel good videos on TikTok is a dude. There, a guy that goes and swipes his credit card across the machine while people are getting their groceries.
Oh yeah, I love that stuff. Shaq does that all the
Like,
time, and I can't get enough of watching him do it. Or he'll just go into a Walmart and be like, for the next X amount of time, he'll tell the people at Walmart, like, for the next X amount of time, I'm paying for
Yeah.
everything that comes through. It's freaking crazy. I love it. I love when people do those
I
things.
just love it.
Yeah.
Yep, and usually the one guy I follow, they tend to be elderly people,
Yeah.
and and they just all of a sudden they look up, like the guy just sneaks in there and just swipes
Yeah.
his card across
Yeah.
the,
Like, what are you
just
doing?
taps it,
Yeah.
and they're like, what? And he just basically just walks away,
Yeah.
and they're like, it's so amazing.
What's amazing
like,
to
just
me
the
is
looks on their faces.
how many people like just start crying. And it's like
Yeah,
that tells
immediately.
you that they probably have had to make some decisions about whether it's medicine versus food or whatever it is. And it's like the relief he just bought for them is so insane. Just
Yeah.
I wish I could do that. Like, if I had tons of money, I'd be doing stuff like that all the time too. I'd love to be that guy doing that, because it's not about, and I don't give a crap about the clout, but I also know there's some of the ones that, they do the videos because they get paid for the videos, then they can take that money and do this with it, so it kind of pays for itself that way, which that I can understand, but it's like, I don't care if I got famous doing it or whatever. It's more just helping people, and, just because too many are struggling, it's an amazing gift if you can give it to somebody. But it doesn't even have to be on that level. Sometimes even, like the people doing the coffee for others, or paying for
That's it. Yep.
paying, hey, here's $20, put it toward whatever the guy behind me gets, or if it pays for his, keep rolling it back till the 20's gone, kind of thing, and
Yep. It's just thinking of others, and
Yeah.
it's nice. Like I had a guy accidentally ship a part to me. He was supposed to send it to somebody else, and it showed up at my door, and he sent me the address and asked if I could, mail it to the right person, and I did. And I said, don't worry about paying me.
Yeah.
Like, I got this.
Yep.
It's my pleasure.
Right.
And he was so thankful, and he's like, I try to teach my son to try to do something like this all the time.
Yeah.
Even if it's a small gesture, and and it feels good to, like, I made a connection to somebody that I've never met and will never meet in the rest of my life, and it's just cool.
Yeah. I do that at the grocery store sometimes, where if I see somebody putting something back, like if it's like a couple things and I know I can cover it, I'll buy it for them, type of thing. and just because, again, I've been there where you get up and you're like, oh, I spent more than I have.
Yep.
And it sucks sometimes when you're looking at not a lot on, like I'm not talking like a full cart of stuff, but you got 5 things and you got to put 2 back because you just don't have that money. And it's like, yeah, well, here, I'll buy your hamburger for you tonight, or whatever. And you just, like I said, just whatever people can do to just be kind and think of others. And, not even just because it's that time of year, but just any time. Just whenever we can do it. And you see stories all the time. It's the stuff I look for on the internet now, is those kind of stories.
That's it.
Versus the ones where it's only because it's Christmas time or whatever. And that's great too. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, like with food and stuff, like my mom used to give to this one, a mission that was here in Toledo, that feeds and shelters homeless. And she would give year round, when she could, not all the time, but she'd give what she could when she could. And it was because it's like, hey, people are hungry in March too. Like they don't just get hungry in November and December, like, so, and it's the truth, so. And I do it at the end of every show anyways, which was, ask people like, hey, be kind, put kindness out there, do things for other people, especially, if it doesn't cost you anything, it's even better, just be nice.
Yep.
Hey, do you need help with this or whatever? And I understand, as a guy, it's tough sometimes. Like if I see somebody struggling with something in the parking lot and I'll be like, hey, do you want me? They're like, back off because, they don't know I could grab it and run, but, but it's still, but even just be kind to people. Like, when I got my TV at Walmart, I got up to the front and the woman who's supposed to be checking the receipts was doing something else. I stood there for a minute and let her finish. And she said, I'll be right over there. No problem. I could have just left.
Yep.
Because by law, they can't stop me. I'm not stealing. I got a receipt. So, but I was just like, whatever. I'm just not going to make this lady's life hard. I'm not going to make her stress. I'll stand here for and it seriously was like a minute. And then she came over and checked it and thank you for waiting. No problem. You have a nice night and walked out, like just that simple to not give someone grief, and what did that 1 minute cost me? Again, I'm a firm believer in you're where you're supposed to be. You never know where that 1 minute rushing out the door might put you somewhere you don't want to be. So, like, no thanks.
Yep. And
so,
all that stuff is free in this.
Exactly.
Bring some compassion, a little patience for somebody. Doesn't cost you anything, really.
Right. Oh, man. This is a good one. And I feel this is kind of weird because I feel like we're just sitting here patting ourselves on the back, too. But,
wins. We're just talking our wins.
You're right. I was at a Goodwill and I felt so bad. The person in front of us, when they paid, the drawer basically told the cashier, there's too much money in me. You need to get a manager for a drop.
Jeez.
Which, that happens, whatever. It takes a couple minutes. So she calls the manager up. Manager comes up and her passcode won't work.
Oh, no.
So this drawer is literally frozen now. Like you can't do anything with it. You can't even kick the drawer out like they normally could just hit a button. It won't do it without the manager's permission. So, and I'm standing there, dude, I've got, I think like a 50-cent plush item, and I'm, and no, it wasn't that. I'm sorry. It was something that was like $4. I'm sorry. But it was just like, whatever. It's, I'm just standing there with my one item. The guy behind me has one item type of thing. And we're just, and the manager is just, she's trying and nothing's working. She calls like her boss. Her boss is worthless. Basically just tells her, figure it out. And I'm not exaggerating. I heard the conversation. Because she had her phone, she was just set her phone on the counter and was, yeah. And I was like, in my head, I'm going, to me, in my scenarios, the easiest solution here would be open another drawer and then just figure the other out later, type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's what she ended up doing because everything, her boss and a boss from a different Goodwill, she called that one, and neither one of them could figure out one. Then they finally figured it out, which was apparently their assistant manager just randomly quit on them. She was running the shift that night. her code hadn't been bumped to manager status yet. She was still head cashier.
Oh,
So as a result,
gotcha.
head cashier can't do the drop.
Yeah,
You
make
have
it
to be a
happen.
manager.
Yeah.
So what they ended up doing was
Yeah.
the store manager gave her password so she could override, But they got it
Yeah.
figured out, but it took a while, right? Like we're standing there, and I mean, it's probably 5-10 minutes. And she keeps apologizing, and I'm like, don't worry about it. I was like, I've worked retail, and I've had the
Yeah.
exact same thing happen because my first night running a shift at Hollywood Video, that exact situation happened to me. My code was not bumped up to manager status, so I could not pop a drawer. So I just opened another drawer, and I'm like, well, at some point we'll figure this out. And the same thing happened. The store manager finally, she just was like, well, here, use my password. And, she just changed her stuff the next day. Because otherwise, without that password, I can't close on the night either. Like, I can't log the computers out. I can't do anything. So, like I said, I'm standing there and I'm like, it is what it is. I'm not in any big hurry. I had just eaten a big meal, so honestly, I didn't want to go sit in the car anyway, So standing there was probably better for me. And I'm just patient, it sucks, whatever. I wish I could have just been like, here's the $4, peace out. Or all I had was a $5.
Yeah.
Here's a $5. I'll tell you what, just put it in there. I don't even care about the other $1. But, she's got nowhere to put it. Like, she couldn't even with a key pop the drawer, basically, from the way it sounded. So, yeah, and I was just, and she apologized again. And, and I was like, it's fine. I told her, I said, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I said, it happens, So again, I've been on the other side of the counter. I know how frustrating it is. And I told her, I said, just take your time and do your best. I said, don't worry about the rest of it, Because if people walk out, let them walk out, like it's, like, hey, if they can't understand, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do.
Yep.
So, and unfortunately, we're coming to that time of year where people's patience tends to go drastically down because lines are long everywhere and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. Anyways, like we said, just be kind, put out stuff out there, try to help each other out, all that stuff, And, I guess I should pull up my list that I forgot to pull up here. Silly me. There it is. Yeah, so it's weird. Facebook's got a thing that says something about like communities are going away or something like that. So I don't know if our Facebook page is going to be around anymore or not. So I'm gonna, I'm talking about it here, but I'm not really gonna. I mean, not that we get tons of movement over there anyway, but still. If you want to reach out to us, really the best way is on Twitter at the Crazy Life Pod. I post when new episodes go up over there. But if you message us or add us, I'll see it. If you want to reach out to Heno, how you doing that?
You can find me on the old Twitter X and the threads as Ida Heno, and you can find me on Facebook Messenger, Heno Heiter. Just put in my name and I will be there. Although the amount of spam stuff that's coming around is just a little ridiculous now. Like, I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah.
For some reason, Hillsdale College wants to sell me a calendar really bad.
Okay.
I have no idea who Hillsdale College is.
All right.
Sounds familiar, like it might be somewhere. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I keep getting text messages about the Hillsdale College calendar.
Don't you
Couldn't
know?
tell you.
It's the #1 selling calendar across the country every year.
I guess. I don't know what's so
it
special
is
about
funny.
Hillsdale College.
There's a Hillsdale College, I think, not too far from where I am, but that doesn't mean that it's the
You got a
only one.
575 area code?
No, not even close.
575 area code? Nope. Okay.
Nope, not even
Yeah,
close.
this is all. It's all 575. Like,
Wow.
I
Okay.
couldn't tell you.
All right. Fair enough.
So,
All right. Well, if you want to reach out to me on
How about you?
various socials, you can find me on whatever platform I'm on at Stunami. Or you can find my other podcast, Salty Language, at salty_language on Twitter, or at saltylanguage.com. Has all the links to our show stuff on there. The last episode we talked about some stuff we've been watching, like Frankenstein and Bat Fam, and I forgot what else. Oh, Tony watched Monster Squad, and I Like Me, the documentary about John Candy. I talked about how I got a neck fan, which I didn't talk about on here. And we also talk about how my buddy stumbled into a rap duo that they're both 70-year-old guys named Pete and Boss. And they're basically doing gangster rap at 70
That
years
sounds
old.
incredible.
And it's amazing.
Awesome.
And the videos are
That
fantastic
is
as well.
awesome.
So if you're into that stuff, please check us out wherever you find your podcasts. Yeah, and then I guess, like I said, as we say every time, please reach out to people if someone's struggling. But even if they seem like they're okay, check out, because again, the people who constantly tell you they're fine generally are hiding behind the best masks. So just check in with people once in a while, just see how they're doing, and be kind, as we've said. I can't stress that enough. When people do nice things, it makes everyone feel better. You feel cool, they feel nice, that kind of stuff. So please do that. And again, as we get closer and closer to, crazy shopping days and all this stuff, it's like, please, pull up some Guns N' Roses or Chris Cornell, whichever version you prefer, and just listen to some Patience. And, just please show patience with people out there. Most of the people out there are trying to do their best, and it's really stressful for everyone involved. So, just please be nice and show some patience. And yeah. All right. Well,
I'm gonna send you out with my favorite fortune cookie that I keep in my wallet, and it's starting to become a little crumbled.
okay.
One cannot do everything at once, but one can do something at once.
I like it.